What if I told you that America's global empire, its financial dominance, its control of the world economy was once just one decision away from collapsing? That a single man, a French president, looked the United States of America in the eyes and said, "I will break your power with gold." This isn't conspiracy. This isn't rumor. This is documented history, and it's a history almost no one talks about. Because before the US dollar became the unquestioned king of global finance, there was a moment when it almost all fell apart. A moment triggered by Charles de Gaulle, the French leader who openly challenged the American empire, and almost succeeded. Today, we uncover the true story of how Charles de Gaulle tried to dismantle American dominance, and why the world still feels the shockwaves right now. To understand the showdown, we need to understand the battlefield, the financial order after World War II. In 1944, the world gathered at a place called Bretton Woods. The goal: rebuild a shattered global economy. But something else happened. Something bigger. The United States made a move that would shape the next century. They anchored the global economy to the US dollar, and anchored the dollar to gold. This system made the dollar the center of global trade. Every nation needed dollars. Every bank depended on dollars. Every government held dollars, and America held about 70% of the world's gold reserves. On paper, it made sense. You give the US dollars, the US guarantees you gold. The dollar wasn't just a piece of paper, it was supposed to be as good as gold itself. This new world order was called the American century. But one man didn't like the smell of this new world. That man was Charles de Gaulle, a general, a nationalist, a political survivor, and a man obsessed with French independence. De Gaulle believed two things. 1. No empire should control the world. 2. Especially not an empire pretending not to be one. He saw what was happening. If the world needed dollars, and the US could print dollars whenever it wanted, then America controlled everything. Trade, resources, war, peace, even the future. De Gaulle called it a financial empire disguised as cooperation. He believed America's power was an illusion held together by trust, and if that illusion cracked, the empire would fall. So he began to ask a dangerous question. What happens if we stop trusting America? In the early 1960s, de Gaulle noticed something alarming. The US government was spending more dollars than it had gold to back. It was fighting the Cold War, funding NATO, running foreign aid, and expanding military bases worldwide. And the money, they just printed it. This meant the US had made a silent transition from backed currency to faith-based currency. And if faith was ever lost, America would be bankrupt. De Gaulle understood this before anyone else. So he formed a plan so simple, so logical, and so devastating, that the US government called it economic warfare. Step 1. Convert France's dollar reserves into gold. Step 2. Force other countries to do the same. Step 3. Drain America's gold supply until the dollar collapses. This wasn't theory. This wasn't threat. De Gaulle acted. He ordered the French Navy to sail to New York, not for war, but for gold. In a humiliating moment for the US, warships left American ports carrying tons of gold back to France. Every shipment was a message to Washington. We don't trust your dollar anymore. By 1965, de Gaulle had publicly declared the dollar system a fraud. He said, quote, "We consider it necessary that international trade be established on an indisputable monetary base, not on the dollar." His speech sent shockwaves around the globe, and other nations began to think, what if he's right? What if America can't pay? What if we should ask for our gold too? Countries started lining up, demanding conversion. Gold flowed out of US vaults like a bleeding artery. America panicked, because the US didn't have enough gold to pay everyone, and de Gaulle knew it. This was the moment. This was the weak point. This was how he would break the empire. On August 15, 1971, President Richard Nixon appeared on television. His tone was calm. His words were rehearsed. But what he said changed the world forever. "I am temporarily closing the gold window." It wasn't temporary. It was the end. America defaulted on its promise. They refused to exchange dollars for gold. Bretton Woods was dead. The gold standard was gone. And the US dollar transformed from world's trusted currency to world's enforced currency. America lost the backing of gold, but it kept its empire. How? Because over the next decade, the dollar would be reborn, not backed by gold, but backed by oil. The petrodollar was born. De Gaulle had almost won, but America adapted faster. The empire survived, but only by changing the rules of the game. After the gold window closed, something new began. Currency value floated freely. Inflation exploded. Wealth inequality surged. The US debt machine turned on and never turned off, and something else. Something more dangerous. The US learned that power didn't need gold, it needed control. Control of trade, control of resources, control of the financial system, control of the future. De Gaulle didn't live to see it, but his warnings echo today. Because look at the headlines. Nations forming alliances to trade in other currencies. BRICS exploring a gold-backed currency, China and Russia reducing dollar reserves, Saudi Arabia talking about non-dollar oil. It feels like déjà vu. The same cycle is repeating. The dollar's strength today comes not from trust, but from necessity. And just like in de Gaulle's time, that necessity is fracturing. The question returns, what happens if the world stops trusting America again? When de Gaulle challenged America, US national debt was under $400 billion. Today, over $34 trillion. Back then, dollars were printed carefully. Today, trillions can appear with the click of a keyboard. In 1965, de Gaulle warned, the global economy today is a house built on confidence, and confidence is the most fragile resource of all. And here's the darkest twist. De Gaulle failed, only because he was early. So what can we learn? 3 takeaways. 1. Empires collapse when their currency collapses first. It doesn't matter how strong your military is, if people stop trusting your money, your empire ends. 2. A global financial system built on faith is a time bomb. Gold wasn't perfect, but paper and promises are far more dangerous. 3. The world is shifting again, and history suggests the next financial order won't be decided peacefully. Charles de Gaulle didn't hate America, he feared the consequences of its power. He wasn't trying to destroy the world's economy. He was trying to save it from a monopoly. Maybe he was wrong, maybe he was right. But today, right now, the same pressure points are forming again. Currencies are losing trust. Debt is rising, nations are hedging bets. And somewhere in the world, a new leader might be thinking, what if we demand gold instead? If history repeats, the next economic war won't be fought with tanks. It will be fought with trust, currency, and the power to say no. If you want more deep dives into the hidden history behind global power and money, subscribe to this channel and turn on notifications. Leave a comment below. Do you think de Gaulle was a hero or a threat? Your answer might be more important than you think. And remember, history doesn't repeat, but it does rhyme, and the next verse is already being written. End.